This is, of course, going to come as really bad news to Arsenal fans. There is no doubt about that whatsoever. They rule it out. We know Spotify owner Daniel Ek has put a serious amount of interest into trying to buy the football club. But the deal has been ruled out. They will not be moving forward with it. Interestingly, at the same time, we have seen the share price of Spotify raise massively, and some of the takeover numbers just seriously didn't make sense from what was being claimed. £2 billion valuation on the football club. Many thought that was far too expensive for Daniel Ek to be able to actually afford, for him to be able to meet those demands. There are some that think it may be even a little bit of a ploy in some ways. When you look at the simple facts that the share price has risen so much, Spotify is valued at nearly £300 million more today than before the announcement of the supposed takeover. At the same time, on the same day that the announcement was made that they would try to have a takeover, Spotify increased the prices of their packages on average by £2 per member. Something isn't quite adding up here for me, but one thing is for sure as it stands, that the Kroenkes have ruled out selling the football club. They have no intention, absolutely no intention whatsoever of selling Arsenal. The only way through this, and this is according to chief financiers in the market, the only way they see this motoring forward, the only way they see this changing is if a mammoth, a gargantuan offer well and truly above the valuation of the club was to be submitted, or maybe the valuation starts to fall dramatically. And that's with fans boycotting and not spending money. But it remains to be seen as to whether or not fans can go through with that. In additional news today, according to credible journalists, very, very credible journalist out there, Tancredi Palmieri, the Arsenal board are also unhappy with Mikel Arteta's performance this year, and only success in the Europa League this season can save his job. There are many Arsenal fans that think they may be looking to use Mikel Arteta as the fall guy to try and gain a bit of credibility back with the percentage of the Arsenal fans. But according to reports this morning coming out of Italy, there may be an approach for the current Roma manager. Of course, Roma in the semi-finals of the Europa League as well. Paulo Fonseca as the potential replacement at Napoli, amongst a few other clubs, are monitoring the manager as it stands right now. As I say, currently at Roma, he previously managed clubs like Braga and Shakhtar Donetsk as well. But Arsenal, according to reports this morning to Tancredi Palmieri, Arsenal board are looking at the potential of sacking Mikel Arteta at the end of this season without Champions League qualification and Europa League success. So not a great morning if you're an Arsenal fan. Takeover off. And if you're an Arteta fan, he is facing the sack. Do me a big, big favor right now and hit that like button and hit that share button. We're going to be taking your calls, going through your super chats as well. We're going to share the link for you to call in on the Discord server. So please go and make sure you sign up to that now. The link is in our description below. RS1 here says, Terry, this shouldn't be a surprise to anyone. Who would United, Arsenal, or Liverpool owners sell assets that are only appreciating in time? And this is true. And this is very, very true. The valuation of these clubs continue to rise. They get bigger and bigger sponsorship deals. TV money is increasing. And the fans do not have the guts to pull their money away. In one way, shape, or form, Arsenal fans will not pull their money away. I don't blame them for it, because am I prepared to completely distance myself away from Manchester United? I've never made the claim to. I don't have the guts to. I don't want to walk away from watching it. So you then have to ask yourself, what matters more? Your enjoyment, you're buying the merch, you're supporting the team, or wanting your owners out? You'll know the answer in your head. It's a rhetorical question I'm putting across to you. But RS1, you are right. There is no way that these owners are selling. And on Daniel Ek and Spotify. Now, I'm not saying it's a complete coincidence, But since those tweets and the announcement that they're going to be trying to buy the club, they're doing an interview today at about 2:30, 2:45 on Sky. He's still going to, probably in a very corporate way, talk about his desire to buy the club and he's looking at options. I don't know if there'll be a categoric, I am going to bid serious money for this club. But since they made the tweet and the announcement they're going to try and buy it, £300 million growth in the valuation of Spotify. They did the announcement on the same day as a £2 per membership hike was put upon their premiums. And what's really important to look at is that above their average weekly sign-up rate, in the past 5 days, they are 25,000 new accounts above their general new sign-up numbers in the UK. It appears that Arsenal fans in their thousands have flocked to Spotify and seen them as the saviors of their club and have pumped collectively hundreds of thousands of pounds a month into that business. But could it all be folly? Could it all be for nothing? We do want your views. We do want your opinions on all these stories this morning. A man like Cam here says short-term pain for long-term gain. And I hear you on that. And I know that you did it for a couple of, I watched you on, I want to say a Gal stream the other day, and you were talking about how, you spent 2 years not watching the club, not supporting the club. More fans are going to have to do that. Kroenke have said they're not going to sell. That's a public statement. The Daniel Ek thing, I'm still not convinced. He thinks he legitimately can buy it or will buy it if the opportunity legitimately arose. And on Mikel Arteta, Tancredi Palmari, one of the most credible journalists across Europe, has said that the Arsenal board are unhappy with him this season. They will be looking at the potential of a replacement in the summer if there is not Europa League success. Arsenal fans, what is your thoughts and feelings when it comes to this news this morning? Arsenal fans, another protest is happening at the Emirates on the 6th of May before the Europa League game. I think you need to make sure you're there I think you've got to double the numbers. But then all those people have got to make a stand against the club. Are all those people, like, no one turn up in an Arsenal shirt. No one turn up in Arsenal merchandise. It's about, make that point. Come with a statement. Come with these are the sponsors we're going to boycott. This is what we're going to do, like a plan of action of how you're going to take them down. And I'm just saying there needs to be like levels to this now. Red Devils Down Under here says, call me cynical, but did we think these owners would give up their biggest outgoing assets on their portfolio? I'm not too sure if it's the biggest with KSE. They own some serious real estate. They own some serious franchises in the States. But it's an asset that continues to ever grow, especially in London. Land in London is so valuable because there's no bloody space left. The valuation will just continue to grow and grow and grow and grow. And something like the Super League will happen. Whether it's a British Super League, whether it's a rejig within the game, in the next 5 to 10 years, something else will happen that will increase it further. It really will. The Undertaker here says, I think Big Sam should be... Come on. There's no need for the banter there. There's no need for the banter. We're going to share the link on Discord for you to come on and have your say in a few moments. There's a few people here talking about the potential of Mikel Arteta going. What I did look at earlier is that I looked at their current managerial jobs and wanted to take a look at the win rates of these two managers. Here's Mikel Arteta with a 50% win ratio, just over 50% win ratio as it stands right now. Has actually lost more games than he's drawn for Arsenal over that time period as well, losing 22 and drawing 17 of his 79 games in charge, a 50.63% win ratio, which a lot of Arsenal fans are not happy with. There's no doubt about it. But is the 48-year-old Paulo Fonseca really that better an option? When we look at this here, his win percentage is only slightly better. It is only slightly better in the cold light of day. When we look at the cold hard facts here, it is only slightly better here with a win ratio of 52%. He's lost 24 of his 95 games and drawn 21 of them. Is he legitimately better than Mikel Arteta? I want your thoughts and feelings. The one thing you would say is Arsenal certainly have better resource than Roma, do they not? They're a richer club. I think Roma have got a lesser squad. So could he get more out of a squad with better players? The youngsters and the talent coming through at Arsenal is absolutely impeccable. There's no doubt about it whatsoever. But I do want your thoughts and I do want your feelings this morning. Hit that like button, hit that share button right now. We're going to put the link out on the Discord server in just a few moments' time. So get yourselves across there if you've not been there already. We had a few super chats already. So we're going to put super chat and member chat questions up. Man like Cam here, one of my loyal members, says, Chris, I'll try. I need to go back. Hang on. Cam said, Mohammed, bro, Italy only have a top 3, not a top 6. These men are 7th. So in my eyes, same thing. Yeah, Cam here doesn't want Fonseca at Arsenal. And I understand that. I totally understand why you wouldn't want him. You know, go for Arsenal. Got to be looking at established managers to help rebuild this club. I think they've got to look at an established manager. You know, they missed out on Ancelotti would have been perfect for this transition period in Arsenal's history. There is no doubt about it whatsoever. Terry out here with a PowerPoint presentation. Listen, bro, we're going to try and up the levels away from tech like that and make it even slicker. I don't know how to do that though. I'm a banker. That's all I've been. And no jokes on that one. Literally, I come from a banking and finance background. I used to have a team that would put together presentations. I don't know how to do any of this. We'll get there in the end. Don't worry about that. Terry, are you saying club owners don't have an exit strategy? Twisted, you ask some amazing questions. Of course, I have an exit strategy, but there has to be a trigger point for the exit. Either they max out on valuation or the club valuation starts to decrease. If the asset continues to grow and there is no financial commitment needed from these individuals to make it grow, why would they sell? There is no logical reason. If I turn around to some of you now and said, listen, you can buy business from me for that won't cost you a penny. All you have to do is get a loan of £100,000 that the business will pay back from its turnover. You know that you have loyal fans who are not going to loyal customers are not going to turn their back. No matter what the business does, says, or how it behaves, those loyal customers will continue to turn up. Those loyal customers keep pumping money in. The assets you own are tangible assets, not cars, not machinery that depreciate over time. Tangible asset, land. And as a going concern, the business continues to grow its revenue year on year. The only thing that's made it decrease has been the lockdown situation. That's going to go away. Fans will be back. Money is going to influx again. Why would you, if you bought that business, it didn't cost you a penny to buy it, doesn't cost you a penny to run it, and it grows in valuation and grows in profitability year in, year out, why would you sell it? There is no logical reason. And just to reiterate here, we've got a gal backstage who's coming on very, very soon indeed. We are going to share the link in a few moments. We'll all come on and have your say. As we all told you earlier on today, the Kroenkes have ruled out selling Arsenal. They have ruled out selling Arsenal Football Club. This is not going to happen according to KSE, regardless of the offer made from Spotify founder Daniel Ek. I think it's Ek or Ek. How does Google say it?
Daniel Ek.
Daniel Ek, like Ek in that way. But I want your views and I want your opinions this morning on all of this news. We're going to be joined now by my guy, one of my most favorite people in the whole world. I genuinely mean that. I hope it hasn't been raining. It's man like Egal in the house. How you doing, bro?
It actually is raining. It just started. Anyways, I'm going to say, you said something earlier. They're not going to sell. Yes, they have no intentions of selling, but at the same time, you have a price that you will be looking at, and you're going to be like, you know what? If this valuation gets hit, I'm going to be looking to sell, because regardless what they say, it's business acumen 101. If you have an asset, you don't want to depreciate the asset by making it look like you're desperate to sell. Even if you are looking to sell, you filter it out to the right people so that the right people hear about it. But you don't want these things to be public, because if you make a sale of a club public, that's when your price of your club tanks, And they are trying to protect their asset by saying, you know what, we are not looking to sell, we're not looking to do anything. But I'm assuming behind closed doors, Daniel Ek and everyone else can see for themselves that there's a vulnerable situation right now at Arsenal, and anyone with the right money can come in and possibly scoop the club from underneath the Kroenkes. That's what I'm thinking, like, when it comes down to it.
Do you still believe the Kroenkes and KSE are looking to sell? Or, are you not concerned by the fact that the same day that Daniel Ek and the Spotify owner announces he wants to buy the club is the exact same day that they increase the majority of their premiums on Spotify? Now, I'm not saying it's a free world. They're allowed to increase their premiums, but there's always going to be a backlash. They put their student program up and their premium program up, but it came out on the same day they're looking to buy Arsenal. The share price has rocketed, over $300 million growth in the valuation of the business. Do you not see that as a bit of a coincidence?
Okay, so I've looked into Daniel Ek, and I've looked at his Twitter account, and I've looked at him as a person to see if he is actually just making up this whole thing that he's an Arsenal fan. He actually has tweeted numerous times about Arsenal throughout the time. So I feel like it's just a coincidence that he mentioned it the same day as a protest. So Arsenal was trending. Arsenal out. I mean, Kroenke was trending all over the world. He had his say on it, and that it just coincidentally happened to be the same day that that they were raising their prices. I think that stuff is predetermined a long time before that. I don't think he predetermined that he was going to say, "Oh, I'm going to buy Arsenal just to increase my prices, just to get more sales." I don't think that was his end goal. I think his end goal is genuinely to buy the club. And numerous people have spoken. He's actually a person who has gone to matches. He's a person who has traveled a long distance to go to games. Of course, I've heard that he's left board meetings to actually watch the game if nothing really is going on during that board meeting, to catch Arsenal games. And he's been told by his friends that are close to him, have said he's an Arsenal enthusiast, and he's been found tweeting about Mustafi and other things in regards to the club. So I don't think it has anything to do with his personal gain. I don't think he did it for himself. I think this is genuinely just a coincidence.
And listen, I'm not denying that he isn't an Arsenal fan growing up. I just don't. A little bit like Conor McGregor's tweet, I sort of feel that I would love to buy it. I have a plan. And I hear your point on negotiations 101. You don't want to publicly say you're going to sell it. But there isn't a financier. There isn't a business, but there isn't anybody credible in the game. And I'm talking the financial game that can see why they would sell it. The only way that they've said it is if people boycott. And my question to you as an Arsenal fan, are you going to be at the next protest?
Depending when it is. If it's this Sunday, I could possibly be there. But if it's next week Thursday, I probably won't be able to go.
Yeah, work. I understand that. My sort of point is this, though. Do you think those Arsenal fans that were there are going to continue with this energy? And do you think the Arsenal fans that turned up are willing to pull their money from the club? So stop buying kits, boycott all sponsors, cancel tickets, cancel any kind of any methodology that there is to giving that club money? Because I think that's the only way you're going to get them to sell personally. Do you think people are willing to sacrifice their own desires to get the end result they want for Arsenal Football Club?
I genuinely feel like I've spoken to a lot of people about this, and it feels like if you already don't pump too much money into the club, and you don't have season tickets and you don't buy a lot of merch, it's easy to just say, you know what, I'm not going to buy a couple more kits, or I'll probably get them from no name brand kits, right? That is easy to do. But for people who go to games and people who buy the shirt every year and buy it as like, there's people who just wear it in their house as regular clothes or go out with it because it looks so nice. So I don't think people are going to stop buying merch. I genuinely don't believe that, because it's going to be punishing themselves for the greater good. And I don't think a lot of people are willing to punish themselves for the greater good. Just look at some of the biggest people who protest Arsenal and protest Kroenke out for decades. They still buy certain things. They still go to the games. They feel like if they don't go to the games, they're punishing themselves to a level that doesn't make sense almost.
And I respect and I understand that train of thought. And what I'm definitely not trying to do is sort of strong arm people into forcing them to do things they don't want to do. That isn't why I ask. The reason I put the question forward is because in my experience, the only thing that I've ever seen change the approach of people, organizations, etc., is when they stand to lose something. When they stand to actually lose something and it be taken away from them, or the valuation drop or the income stops, then we tend to see a change in behaviors, a changing attitude, or whatnot. The problem is with these protests is that the Kroenkes are not even there. That the pressure isn't on them. Like, I know Vinay was there. You can have all the execs there, the managers, the players, but the owners don't. Everyone keeps saying the owners don't care, and if the owners don't care about those people, I just don't see how protests alone are going to do anything other than raise the profile. There then needs to be something tangible, credible, and impactful after that makes an impact on the bottom line. Because you all keep saying they only care about the bottom line, so that's all they care about. Hit it.
I'm going to say this, Terry. When it comes to the actual situation of selling and putting pressure, unless we put pressure, we'll never know, right? So we have to put whatever pressure we can do. Now, if that pressure gets to Josh or Stan, this is my theory. My theory is Stan doesn't really care if he sells or doesn't sell the club. To him, he just looks at it as another piece to his portfolio. Josh, this is his personal pride on the line because his father has given him the control of a club. He doesn't have full control of the NBA. He doesn't have autonomy on decisions in the NBA. When it comes to the NFL, his dad has other people running that, and Josh has no autonomy on that either. This is the only piece to the puzzle that he has full autonomy on, in my opinion, and he can control can control it as a board member. So if he does sell Arsenal, I don't know if his dad's going to then give him the say to keep the rest of the clubs in his name later on. So it's almost like, you know how the West Ham, West Ham owner gave his son the West Ham women's team and told him you can run it and you can be like the main guy. That's what I feel like Josh is for Arsenal. And if he does sell Arsenal, it will be a personal failure for him. And I don't think Stan will let him take control of the NFL team and the NBA team in the future if that takes place. So at this point, this is a theory of mine. But of course, I feel like for Josh, it's a personal thing. For Stan, he's just looking at business. And if someone comes in with the right offer, the person who's going to stop the sale is Josh, not Stan.
I hear you on that. In other news today, Tancredi Palmari has said that the Arsenal board are unhappy with Mikel Arteta and only European success, i.e. winning the Europa League, is able to save his job. What's your reaction to this news this morning that's broke that the Arsenal board are looking at potential replacements and looking to, in some people's eyes, rightfully sack Arteta, and maybe some other people's use him as a bit of a scapegoat? What's your thoughts on this news?
Okay. I'm Arteta in, and I was Emery out, right? What made me Emery out was he lost the dressing room, and the reason why I would say Arteta going would at this point would actually put us back, and it wouldn't bring us forward at all, is because I've seen by the evidence of what's happened over the past couple of seasons, every time that we get a new person in, they have to evaluate the situation, they have to take out more players, and we're going through a big overhaul. I would rather have actually now kept Emery, and I was wrong to get on Emery's back because I feel like if Emery was still here, we probably would be in a better situation today. Now that we have Arteta, I'm going to keep the same energy. If Arteta loses the Europa League or wins the Europa League, either way, I think he should still be given the summer to reevaluate the squad, bring in more players, and we will probably be in a better situation next year with Arteta than having to bring in a new manager to reevaluate the situation with no games being played. He might end up keeping some of the players that we need to get rid of, and we'll be in the same situation again next season, starting with a new manager, starting a new project, starting from square one. And I don't want to start from square one. I want to build something with one individual who can build it from the ground up. He might not be the right individual to build it from the ground up. That's what people are going to throw at me. But at the end of the day, if you don't have consistency from the top, you don't have consistency from the board, and you don't have any consistent players, where are you going to get anything from? You need to have some continuity and consistency within your system, and we don't have any of that. Arteta has had 6 people in the board change in his time, in the time that Arsene Wenger's been sacked till now. I don't trust anybody at this club, and I don't trust him to pick the next manager.
There we go. Egal's had his say with us this morning. Thank you for coming on, mate. And we'll see you at 6 p.m. tonight for the big Europa League preview as well, mate. Speak to you soon,
No
buddy.
problem.
Take care, my guy. We're going to go to some more calls now. Make sure you're hitting that like button with us this morning to recap The sale and takeover of Arsenal Football Club is off, according to KSE and the Kroenkes. They have refused to sell. We know that Daniel Ek is having an interview with Sky this afternoon where he is going to again reaffirm his stance of wanting to take over, but the signs do not look good as it stands right now for an Arsenal takeover on all fronts. And I think what really needs to be focused on here to everyone new tuning in is just the benefit that has been seen at Spotify since these announcements have been made. Prices hiked up, share price rising and giving £300 million increased valuation to the business since Friday. Since Friday's announcement, since Friday's tweet, this is what has gone on. Is this a real, genuine take at a takeover of Arsenal, or are we looking more at a marketing coup to increase revenues, subscriptions for Spotify? We want your views and opinions. In the other bit of news today, Mikel Arteta facing the sack if he doesn't get European success. Tahir says, Kroenke will not sell. They do not want to lose European influence and world influence with Arsenal. Kroenke can expand their businesses. Could be true. We're going to go to some more calls here. First up, we're going to get the realist on here. We're going to get man like Abs. What you saying, Abs? Up, big Arsenal fan. What's your thoughts on this news this morning?
Yeah, Terry. In terms of the owner, you knew they were going to come out that statement where they said that they weren't going to sell. I fully saw it coming. I wasn't optimistic with this Daniel Ek guy. He probably is a passionate Arsenal fan, but I wasn't going to believe it until the official statements from him or someone else came out, and I've seen it from the Kroenkes, and you knew it was going to come out this whole time. So this is, for me, it's a catch-22 because this Daniel Ek guy is either a very smart businessman or he's a very passionate Arsenal fan. I think he's even asked. Obviously, I think he's a passionate Arsenal fan, but he either stated his loyalty for the club and actually wants to buy it, or he just wants to raise his shares in the business. And in terms of that, he's very smart in doing it. So that's my point on the owners. And in terms of Arteta, I think he obviously I'm never in these Arteta in or Arteta out debates because I think it's just childish, to be honest. I'm never in it. But personally, I think Arteta does deserve to be sacked. But what he's done, I haven't seen no progress. He's gone from 8th to 10th, and I think the Arsenal board just saw a manager. No. They saw a coach under Pep, and they were like, you know what? Fuck it, let's just buy a person that just works okay under money. So that's what I saw.
Yeah, no, I hear you on that. Listen, great call, mate. Thank you for coming on and having your say. Arsenal fans, do you think Mikel Arteta deserves to lose his job is the question. Egal here says, Terry, Spotify have just announced their first quarter earnings. Does that have anything to do with the fact that their stock has gone up? Well, not since Friday. So when you look at the cold, hard facts of this matter, Egal, the share price, let me remove your comment, you can see it was teetering, and then it has that big jump just below where it says one. If you look on the actual screen, it's not like a live feature, but if you see just where the mouse is, you see this point here, that spike was from the tweet. Okay. The only way that growth can happen based on the announcements of its performance is if there was inside information, and there shouldn't be any inside information about what was actually going to happen. That would in itself would be insider trading, which would be illegal. So the spike happened, Egal, because he announced the Arsenal situation and it was seen as good business. And of course it would be. Imagine the owner of Spotify suddenly owns a Premier League football club. Spotify would then look to, make its inroads into the Premier League, and other areas of football. How could it utilize Spotify and everything that comes with Spotify to enhance the Premier League? There would be so much money in that. Spotify maybe looking to take over the football conversation. Spotify could use their heads and look to take billions of pounds a year away of revenue from YouTube by saying, actually, maybe we should become the voice of football, because YouTube dominates that right now. There is definitely ulterior motives going on here. There is no doubt about it whatsoever. Let's go to the next caller. We're going to get Gunnar on the line. Gunner's here with us. What you saying, mate?
Hello? Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you. What's your thoughts on this news this morning? What do you want to say?
Basically, as Igal said, I actually believe the Kroenkes are willing way more willing to sell than you guys probably realize. As he said, I think there's only one person that's stopping the sale of Arsenal, and that's Josh Kroenke. It's not Stan, it's Josh. And I believe that this rumor saying that he's squashing it, I don't believe a word of it. The only way I will actually believe it if they reject the offer from Daniel Ek. And the Daniel Ek Spotify increasing, it could be a coincidence where they were I think the £2 thing they planned it for time. The £2 thing they must have planned it years in advance, like a year advance. That they can't just randomly drop that. But the stock it had to do with Arsenal as well. So it could be just a little bit of it's most likely a little bit of both, like where the situation was the £2 thing and the fact he tweeted about Arsenal increased the stocks very highly. End of the day, I think this guy is really genuine because the reports have said it as well. And I don't believe Terry Henry, Dennis Bergkamp, Vieira would join something that's ingenuine. So I trust them, and I think he would also not even ask them. Like, why would he ask legends to join him if he was not genuine? I think he is genuine. I think Kroenke is way more willing to sell than you guys realize. I think Josh is the only thing that's stopping it, and I think Stan would accept anything. He would accept about 2 billion. He would accept it, and he would probably leave. He has 2 billion reasons why, and he probably would accept. He doesn't really care about the club or the valuation or how much money is coming out of it. He's too busy with the American franchises. He's too busy. He never comes here. There's so many other reasons where maybe you, Terry, don't see it, but Arsenal fans, we actually believe that this is the best time to get Kroenke out. And I think Kroenke will actually sell to this guy or any other one that's willing to put up 2 billion. And hopefully he just accepts and we can just move on.
No, listen, you're entitled to your opinions. Do you all agree with Gunnar? Thank you very much for coming on and having your say. He thinks the Kroenkes want to sell. I don't disagree that Daniel Ek's intentions are genuine, but does he really believe he can buy the club? Sometimes you have double-edged swords in life. Young Wizard here says Spotify can't broadcast Arsenal or Premier League games. Now, I'm not talking about broadcast the games that Sky do. I'm talking about podcasts. I'm talking about fan content. There's so much they could look to do and integrate via their platform. You've already seen Twitch do it. Twitch have gone to a couple of the biggest football YouTubers on the planet and said, yeah, we'll pay you a shed load of money to do it exclusive, like your live stuff exclusively here. Spotify might want to get involved. Facebook are going to do that very soon as well. And owning a football club gives you an inroad into that as well. And it wouldn't be Spotify to own it. It would be a guy that owns 10%. So I don't think there would be a conflict of interest in there. Anyway, Samuel says Spotify agency for players. Roman would sack Arteta for the 5th time by now. I think you're right about there's no way Chelsea would settle for where he is in the league. Do me a big favor now and hit that like button and hit the share button as well. Egal says, I'm no joke. Egal is not a joke. Egal is a genuine guy. Top Arsenal fan, loves his club. He may have opinions that you disagree with, but you know why we give him more credit than most? He has the gall, the confidence, and the front to come on live on the air and say what it is he thinks and feels about his football club. It's very easy to sit there and comment, and I know you all do a great job in the comment section, but give Egal respect, please, viewers. Give Egal respect. We're going to go to some more calls here. First up, we've got Cozzy from the Cozzy Arsenal podcast. What you saying?
How you doing, Terry?
Turn off the device. That'd be great. You're obviously listening to the stream as well.
Is that okay?
I don't know yet. No, it's playback from whatever you're listening to. It's coming.
How about that?
Let me see now. Yes, that's perfect. What do you want to say, buddy?
Okay, Terry, I think the truth is the Kroenkes don't want to sell. That's the truth. They're having a business where they don't invest much, and they're making a lot of money. Like we've seen before in the past decade, they have not been, investing a lot of money in Arsenal. Actually, we are one of the clubs that have been self-sustaining. All the money, most of the money we use to run the club is generated from TV revenue, generated from the activities around the club. So it's crazy to think the Cronkies want to sell a business where they don't invest much, and they're making lots and lots of profit. So I don't think they want to sell. But the fact is, there is fan pressure. There is a lot of pressure, and that could be the reason as to why they could sell, because we have seen it, we have read it, around,
Yeah.
that probably if this deal is done in public, it will give Ek and all, the consortium a little bit more energy, a little bit more of an advantage if it is done in public. But if it's done in private, we stand no chance at kicking Kroenke out. That's my opinion. For Mikel Arteta, he doesn't need to be here in the first place. There is no way Arsenal should be hiring a manager like Mikel Arteta, a coach like Mikel Arteta, then you make him head manager, a few months later, because he won a chef, calling, what the Community Shield and FA Cup. He should have not been there, here in the first place. Maybe what people want to tell us is that Arteta winning the FA Cup, one FA Cup, has become better than Arsene Wenger, because Arsene Wenger won a couple of them, 3 Premier League titles, and then we reached a time when we were like, we're out of the fourth, we're top 4, Wenger out. Now we are 9th, and they're saying, oh, give Arteta more time. I don't agree with that. That's the truth.
There we go. Listen, he's had his say there this morning. Do you agree with Cozzy here this morning on the Football Terrace? Hit that like and that share button. Thank you for calling in. Ray says in a comment here, Terry, do you know YouTube Premium is $11.99 a month? Spotify were always going to match their competitors. Listen, I love that. I love that you brought that up. And of course, but I don't genuinely believe in coincidence in life. To announce the hike in price on the same day as you announce you're taking over Arsenal, some would call it a smokescreen. Some would call it a smokescreen as a way of hiding what you're doing. We see this in government quite a lot. Oh, we're going to put through a really tough legislation, so we'll bring out some scandal. We'll release a scandal about somebody and then release this news behind the scenes, and maybe it will go unnoticed. And I agree with you from a business point of view why the need to increase. But it doesn't mean that people are not upset and angry about it. But how do you filter out that news? You announce something gargantuan. It is to say that it isn't a possibility, I think would be naive of football fans around. There seems to be the realist and Egal both come on the air now and have your say. Let's get it on now on the Football Terrace. Let's do it. Everyone who's tuning in, let's get this past 250 likes while we're live, please. Next on the show, we've got Donny fan Aaron with us. What you saying, bro?
Oh, I'm happy with the point last night. Look, on the Kroenke stuff, I think they're saying, oh, we don't want to sell. I think this is just pressure because they don't think Daniel Ek's got the actual bottle to put a bid in. But what people don't know is Daniel Ek is a diehard Arsenal fan. You got these 3 invincibles behind the takeover, Henry, Vieira, Bergkamp. I think Kroenke wants to try and test Ek's bottle. I think he wants to try and test if he's actually going to put a bid in. So that's how I'm sort of looking at it. From an Arteta point of view, I think that, look, when Arteta first came in, I said, it's going to take a couple of years. It's going to be a process. I'm looking at it now and thinking, well, they're not getting the results in the league. If they're not going to get the Europa League title this year, I think the best thing for Arteta is to just walk away, get some experience somewhere else, or go back to Guardiola and learn back under him in some respect. But I think if they don't get Europa League, at least, if they don't get inside the top 10 in the Premier League and get a Europa League title, then Arteta needs to go. I think if you get under top 10 and you get the Europa League, he needs to go. If they don't get the Europa League and they get inside the top 10, then he needs to go. He has to get both to at least stay for one more year. And I think if they get this takeover through, despite what the Kroenkes are saying, if they get this Daniel Ek takeover through, I would like to see Arteta work under that ownership for a year. Just see how much they back him. And if the results still don't come, then you say Arteta needs to go. But big up yourself, Terry. Big up the Football Terrace. Big up Egal, who's backstage, I'm sure, right now. And very good. Very, very good point last night. So message to Peterborough fans. Don't let off your fireworks so early because it might backfire on your backside. But yeah, it was a brilliant result last night. Terry with 2-0 down, looked like the old Doncaster, and then Jason Aquilo, the old Roy Hodgson Crystal Palace boy, pulling it out with it was a man possessed. It was like Lewis Hamilton and The Walking Dead. So it was a brilliant performance by him. And Taylor Riches with that Pogba-esque finish in the second half just brought it back. We could have won it, but I'll take a point against a team that are at 1 point away from promotion. So Rovers slide die. We go to Rochdale on Saturday.
Oh, man, thank you, Aaron. Thank you for the Daily Donny update. We appreciate that a lot of the Terrace here. Top man indeed. Egal and the Realist are backstage. And Ray, I saw your comment about Don knows Daniel and says he's I'm not saying he isn't genuine and he's want to buy Arsenal, but it's whether or not it can actually be done. And whether or not him and Spotify are also using this to further their own means as well. We're going to get Egal and the Realist on for their debate very, very soon. So stay with us live on the Terrace. But before that, man like Harry is in the house. DJ Harry is here. What you saying, mate?
Hey, man. How you doing?
Yeah, I'm good. What's your thoughts on the news this morning? Firstly, about the takeover being kind of off and Kroenke saying they're not going to sell. And then secondly, the Arteta's job being under threat.
Well, yeah. Firstly, I think the Kroenkes are always going to say they're not going to sell because that would essentially drive the price up higher. Like everyone said, I think everyone has a price. I think the only thing you don't sell is something that you're emotionally attached to, but I don't think they are. So I think if the right offer comes in, they will walk away. I agree with what Egal was saying with regards to Josh. I think he's got some personal ambition for that project to work. I'm not just going against the grain, to be devil's advocate. I do think that since Edu's come in, I have seen improvements in the overall running of the club. However, this inclusion in the Super League has obviously, pushed it over the edge for them. And now they've lost any trust that they were trying to rebuild. So if I was them, I would consider the offer and I would move on. But these businessmen, they have egos, they have values to protect, and they might think, no, we want to stay and we want to prove everyone wrong. Let's see. With regards to Arteta, I think that is fair news. If that's a thing, I think if he was to be sacked, I wouldn't be surprised. I'd be upset because I like him as a human being. I think he's done well to install some values back into the club, but ultimately the performances have been well below par and you can't get away from that. And 2-3 weeks ago, I very much used the case of we have some really good fixtures coming up, and if we win these games, we can climb the table. But as we've shown, we can't win those games. We can't beat Fulham at home. We can't beat Everton at home. So it does look like we are going to finish 10th. So in that respect, everyone's right to be upset and feel discontent. But football is a fickle old world, and if he wins the Super League, then he keeps his job, and we're in the Champions League football, and everything changes. So it really does rest on this game against Villarreal tomorrow night, and obviously the second leg. So let's see what happens. But from my perspective, it's not really about being Arteta in or Arteta out, and we shouldn't be, in a case where fans go, "Oh, I told you so. I told you wasn't man for the job." I think you should back the man in charge, even if sometimes you don't believe, because that's what our job is as a supporter. And until we're actually out of the Europa League, then Arteta has my backing. But if we do go out of the Europa League, then I wouldn't support the sacking, but I would fully understand it.
I hear you on that. I think that's a very fair way of looking at Arteta. What I've felt a little uneasy about for the majority of this season is Arsenal fans have tried to paint this picture that where they finish in the league and not qualifying for the Champions League would have no bearing on Arteta's future. I always found that a really strange.
What do you mean? Go on.
Well, I just sort of it's about the process in the future. This season, he won't be sacked for a bad season in isolation. It's about seeing progression, and I've always felt that very rarely happens. There needs to be, unless there has to be an air of progression in terms of an improvement in the football, an improvement in league position, and/or winning some trophies. And at the same time, if the Kroenke don't sell, sacking a manager is just like buying a star player. Because if you sack Arteta and you land a manager that the fans are excited about, what do lots of Arsenal fans suddenly stop saying? Kroenke out. The same as if Man United land Jadon Sancho. Glazer out dies almost instantly as a movement. Some people will still feel it, but it will go away. Look at Liverpool. The difference in them after they win a game, go back near to the top. They don't win a game, but they sign Konate, and it's like, oh, maybe they do care about us. So for me, I see there being a double-edged sword to the Mikel Arteta thing. One, he hasn't progressed as quickly as they wanted to. Secondly, it's a great way of getting the fans back on side with the ownership, especially if you land a manager that's more desirable. A Ten Hag as an example, that would get the juices flowing. And they're not stupid, these owners. They're really, really not. We're going to bring the realist and Egal in to have their debate. It'd be great if Harry could stay with us. David is here with us as well. We might need some referees for this. I don't really know what the debate is about. Egal's here. The realist is here. Let me ask this question first of all.
Yeah.
What's this debate? What are you debating?
I don't know. He said, for some reason, he said, I'm embarrassing and I shouldn't be going on the channel because my opinions are embarrassing. That's what I'm assuming. And I'm like, if you ever want to speak to me, you can speak to me on camera. And then he said, okay, let's go. And I'm like, okay, let's go.
Okay.
outside.
Yeah.
So, realist, why do
Listen,
you think? Why? Yeah. So, realist.
Yeah.
One sec. Realist. One sec. So why do you think Egal is embarrassing?
First of all, I just want to say fair play for Egal for coming on backstage. Obviously, I know a lot of men that wouldn't do that, but fair play for manning up. In terms of embarrassing, I didn't say you're embarrassing, but I said your point it destroys the Arsenal fans as a whole. Obviously, I've been to certain places, and obviously, I'm in college right now in England, and I've been in Discord. And the points that you make just hound every single Arsenal fan. It's just embarrassing. I was tuning into Terrace last night and I heard that you were talking about the weather.
Okay.
You were talking about the weather. How about that? And in terms of general, it's just embarrassing. You come up with these delusional points. You just remind me of Ty from AFC. It's just mad. I don't understand where you go on, and it's just embarrassing.
Okay. So you're done?
Yeah, I'm done. Yeah.
Okay. Can I put me on the big screen?
Sorry.
All right. First things first. I speak for myself, right? If I'm talking about another team and I'm talking about another game, how does that affect you as an Arsenal fan? That's my opinion. That's not your opinion. That's not a collective's opinion. I speak for myself as an individual. And if I'm brave enough to say what I think in my head out loud, anyone who calls me delusional for that, you're probably thinking it too. You just didn't want to say it, or you're not brave enough to say it on camera. So that's one. Two, if you're calling me embarrassing because of my opinions and it affects other fans, how does my opinions affect other people? If my words had that much weight and it affects other people's thought process and it hurts them that much, you know what? Wow. I think that's their problem. And if you think I personally am embarrassing you, I think that's your own problem, mate, because I don't care what anyone thinks about me. I didn't just go about my day saying what I want to say. And if I think something, I'm going to say it out loud because I don't want to forget it.
You look at yourself at the camera right now and say that you speak facts.
I don't always speak facts. I don't always have a factual point. I just say what I think. I say my opinions. My opinions don't have to be factually correct. They're my opinions.
No, but I think there's a distinct difference between opinion and just being stupid. Is there no difference? I think when you clearly state an opinion, that's fine. Everyone respects
what
their
opinion
but
specifically?
when
are
you
you
say
speaking
something
about?
stupid, you should call it out.
Okay, what opinion specifically are you speaking about? Because it seems like you have a catalog of things that you can mention right now. What are those things that you want to mention? Call me out on those things specifically instead of just insulting my character.
Listen, there's been multiple things that you've said. It's not just been one thing. You said multiple
so
things.
what?
You know what you said. Why do I have to stay out?
No. But you came on here, coming at me, but you're just insulting my character. You haven't mentioned a footballing argument at all. I thought we were gonna have a footballing argument, but you're trying to assassinate my character. I'm not gonna have that.
So I clearly said you're embarrassing, and it's true. Literally, if I'm lying,
you still haven't given a valid point why it's embarrassing. What is embarrassing? Explain.
I'm not speaking. Let me speak. Let me land here. Yeah.
Go ahead.
Points that you said before, yeah, you claiming the weather, yesterday as well, yeah, you claiming other things in the past, yeah, that you said. I don't have to restate what you've said. You've said so many points that are just delusional. It's just stupid. It's just mad. And the fact that you don't realize it is beyond delusional. I just don't understand.
What is the definition of delusion?
You know what the definition of delusion is?
But you don't seem to know it.
You make yourself. You make yourself
No, no,
appear
mate,
that you see
if you're
facts,
gonna
you
come
don't.
argue with me about anything, get your facts straight, do your research, have
I
something
have
tangible to
got my
talk
facts
about.
straight.
Because clearly
I
you
have.
just came on here to
Listen,
call me
no,
embarrassing and
no,
delusional. You don't have anything to talk about.
You know that you're stupid, yeah? It seems that I'm the only one that's called you up because you know you are.
No, but this is not a footballing conversation. This is a personal attack, and I'm not gonna have that.
I was a
Yeah.
personal attack.
Let me just sorry.
First of all,
Let me step in for a minute here. Let me just step in for a minute here. I'm okay with you saying I'm not okay with you saying that Egal is stupid or anything bad about him in terms of his character. I'll stand up and say that now because he isn't. Do I think he has some hot takes on football sometimes? Absolutely. But the point Egal's making is, barring last night's one was wild, that the rain affected Real Madrid, but he even presented like some evidence in his mind, right? That's his thoughts. But if you're going to attack other opinions he's got, state what he said and have a debate about that point, as opposed to just.
I just want to state. I just want to state. I'm not trying to personally attack Egal. Obviously, I respect Egal as a person because I know he's a good person. This is nothing. I'm not trying to state that he's a stupid person in general. He's just delusional. He's just a bad person. I'm not trying to state that. I'm just saying by his comments that he's made specifically on the football terrace, it's just be mad. That's what I'm trying to state.
Okay. Listen, and you're entitled to that opinion. All I can say is we love Egal here for multiple reasons, and his opinions are part of that. Do you know what I was saying the other day, right? Too many YouTubers, too many fans that make content are trying to talk like they're Arsene Wenger, like they're Gary Neville, or like a top pundit. And I sometimes feel like, where's the fan content gone? Where are fans speaking from the heart, whether it's facts or whether it's you're delusional? You need a bit of that. You need, for me, that element of fan point of view. You need an element of bias as a fan when you're giving opinions as well. If that dies out, legitimately, fan content dies overnight. Like if we all if fan content becomes like the same sort of protest expert analysis on every element you see on TV, it becomes boring. One of the reasons I like Jamie O'Hara on TalkSport isn't because I think he's a great pundit. It's because he says things that I think are mad. But if every bit of punditry was like serious and precise and had to be basic, it would be boring. It'd be boring. But Realist, listen, I appreciate you coming on.
I just want to say one thing to you. I don't want no one to attack Realist. He's brave enough to come on here and actually say what he thinks to me personally. So that, big up for that. But if you're going to call me delusional or you're going to call me anything, next time just come with evidence. And when it comes down to being delusional, you can't be delusional on an opinion. If that opinion, obviously, if you think that something is false, that is true, that I'm saying, bring it up and tell me what it is. You can't just say I'm delusional without any evidence.
There we go. Realist, top man. Thank you for coming on, having your say, mate. Really do appreciate that. There's some super chats here. Winter Surfer says, Realist, you're one of the worst debaters I've heard. You use blanket statements, no actual points. Stop this, Terry. Award it to Egal as Realist is embarrassing.
Egal, what did you actually say about the rain yesterday? I wasn't watching anything.
Okay, so what I said,
we'll play it. That's the best way. That's the best.
Sorry, I'm not winding it. I'm not winding anyone up.
We're gonna play. We've got to play this. Egal, I have to be honest with you. It's one
first
of my
half definitely affected one side of the more tech.
Right. So I'm gonna put it on the screen. Right. You've got, ladies and gentlemen, you haven't seen this. This is why I love Egal. Egal, I can
like Gogglebox.
Yeah, he's a bit like Gogglebox. We're gonna watch back what we did last night. This is what Egal said.
Technical than Chelsea's and everything. I feel like the rain in the first half definitely affected one side of the pitch more than the other because every time Chelsea was trying to play, every time Chelsea had the ball, they were not really trying to pass the ball quickly on the ground. They were holding on to possession. When Real Madrid got the ball, they would try to make quick passes and they're hitting passes, and the passes were not getting the right weight on it because the rain was making it go far so fast. I feel like Real Madrid were definitely disadvantaged in one play specifically where Casemiro was basically through. And if that pass was put on if it wasn't raining and that pass was passed on a regular day, I'm telling you, Modric would not misplace that. Are you laughing?
Egal, both teams play on the same pitch with the same weather with the same rain.
Yeah.
No, but if you took in what I said Chelsea are not as technical as Real Madrid. Real Madrid were playing the ball on the ground more. Chelsea were playing the balls over the top. They were playing different styles.
I don't know what game you was watching.
Egal, just Real Madrid played 52 long balls. Chelsea today played 38.
defense. It's always the Arsenal fans. Like they always blame the weather. It's the rain, the snow, the wind. Like I don't know. I don't get it. Like,
Did you guys not see what I see? Did you not see?
No. We saw heavy rain. We saw heavy rain. That's what we saw.
Think about this logically, Egal. If both teams were affected by the rain and the wind and everything else, the more technically gifted, the better passers should still be able to pass it better than the guys that are worse at it. I don't become a better passer because it's raining.
The reason why that happened, muscle memory, he passed it with the same weight and the same way that he passed it. Why are you guys laughing? Why are you guys laughing?
Muscle memory.
I have proof. Why are you laughing?
Maybe if it rained more.
You're still missing the same point. Chelsea players have muscle memory too. Amazing.
Now that we're here, last
I love
night
you so much.
I got evidence and I showed you guys the evidence.
I've got evidence.
It was one example in the whole game.
I see what you've got here. This was your evidence. It was the overhit pass. I'm glad we're not playing a video. I do get that, bro. But both teams overhit pass, bro. I listen. It is amazing, absolutely amazing.
Weather does definitely affect playing conditions, but like you say, it's always the same for both teams. But that's it.
It just honestly, it was one of those moments where I was waiting for you, Egal. Listen, and you know what I love about Egal though? Egal will give a point, and then he'll come with his evidence, and he still goes, "It's still what I think." And I look at it, and that's what I love. I sometimes see people give an opinion, and then it might be like the panel might challenge them, and then you see them slowly start to move away from their point because they're like, no one's backing me on this one, so I'm gonna say it. Well, I said I was wrong, or actually now I've thought about it. Egal's like, no, that's my point. Everyone either accept it or cry. I don't really care. David, from your point of view, just on these two stories this morning, is the takeover going to happen, and is Arteta going to be sacked?
It's not happening. This dream of we're going to get taken over by our old players. Oh, I can't wait. It's not happening. And I don't even think you should want it to happen anyway. I think, honestly, this Dan Ek guy, I don't think he's as rich as Kroenke. I think you'll end up spending less money in the situation. I know you want to get Flamini involved, but Flamini's not actually like cash rich. He's asset rich. So you'd have to sell loads of his assets to actually have the money to spend. So I don't think it's actually like a viable thing for you to do. But Arteta does need to be sacked. He does, because it's embarrassing that they're basically 11th. They're 10th right now, but Aston Villa have, I believe it's 1 or 2 games in hand. They've definitely got a game in hand somewhere.
But what about if we progress in the Europa League though? What about if we make the Europa League final? And obviously, what about if we go and win it?
If you go and win the Europa League, I understand, you're back in the Champions League, but you're just going to get knocked back. You're not. I very much doubt you would make it to. I mean, to be fair, you would be in pot 1, so you might get to like the round of 16, but then you just get piped by most teams. But honestly, I really don't see you getting much further than around of 16. It's not worth it. Your squad isn't Champions League level. Your squad's barely it's just touching Europa League level. You've got a lot of problems you need to sort out, and getting rid of Arteta is a big one of them.
David's going through a fire. David, let me ask you a question.
Fire alarm, sorry guys.
Let me ask you a question, David. When it comes to the situation we find ourselves in right now with being 10th in the league and everything else, do you feel like if we kept Emery, would we be in a worse situation?
No. I think Emery would have done a better job than Arteta.
Okay, so as you see that they went from Emery to Arteta, should we trust our board, because that has changed over so much over the past 5 years? Over 6 to 7 people have gone in and out from that backroom staff. Should we trust them to hire the next manager? Because it doesn't seem like any managers are being linked to the job.
You seem to have trusted them enough to back Arteta to this point.
The reason why I trust them is because since Arsene Wenger has left, there's been 7 people changed in the back office. There's no consistency in the back office. There's been no consistent performances on the pitch. There's not been consistent signings year in, year out. Now that we're starting to get people in, like Edu, Arteta, we already have Vinay here. Obviously, Don Raul got sacked prematurely or whatever anyone thinks. But that, with all those things happening at once, I feel like Arteta now has a better setup to succeed. But if we change the managers now, going into a summer where we need to bring in 4 to 5, 7 players possibly, who's going to evaluate those players with the new manager in the realm?
There are definitely a lot of better managers out there. Again, I think Graham Potter would do a good job with your squad.
honestly, I think Ten Hag would do a good job with your squad. I know you wouldn't like the football,
Okay.
but Allegri plays winning football. So
Allegri, can I say something? Allegri's never gonna come, and if Graham Potter is the alternative to Arteta, I'm happily gonna sit in my Arteta in camp. I'm cool with that.
Yeah, I feel like Graham Potter is a wild shot. I'm not saying he's having a good season. I remember about 5-6 years ago when people were so desperate for Wenger out, they wanted to get Laudrup in from Swansea. So these managers, they come and go in their cycle when there's a little bit of hype around them. Everyone is so desperate for an alternative. They go, oh yeah, I'll take Graham Potter. But I don't think Arsenal fans would take Graham Potter. Why? Because the majority of us are a little bit, football
Elitist.
snobs. So when it comes to signings, we don't want a Rob Holding, but we'll take a foreign version of Rob Holding, and we don't want Mikel Arteta, but we'll take Graham Potter. I mean, I don't think that makes sense. I know what you're saying.
Yeah. Sorry, go on, carry on. Sorry.
I know what David's alluding to in terms of Arteta being a problem, and there's managers that could get better out of this squad, but you've also said that we're nowhere near the level. So our players aren't good enough. But what we're expecting from a manager is to overachieve, is to get these players playing 10 out of 10 every week. To get us to that realistic place of where we should be, which is maybe fifth or sixth. And unfortunately, Arteta isn't doing that. But we also have to realise that we are a long way away from being that top six club, not because of only Arteta, but because of the quality of our squad. That's the problem we've got, as well as a manager that is struggling a little bit. It's not down to inexperience. Experienced managers struggle. Mourinho just got sacked at Spurs. Experienced managers get sacked all the time. It's not always down to experience. It's just down to having the ability to turn some average players into consistent performers, and we haven't been able to do that this year. That's the problem. The squad is the problem, as well as the overall management of the squad. But we've got many issues. I have to agree with Egal, and Egal gets stick for being delusional and whatnot. I just think it's a sensible way of thinking, and to continuously sack all the time, I don't think is the right thing to do. Granted, if we don't make this Europa League final and we're really struggling towards the end of the season, then I'd understand why Arteta would be moved on. But when you have a problem, I don't think the first thing to do is just to say, right, sack this person, get rid of this person. I think it's about trying to think how you can fix it, and how we can fix it is by having better players. So let's sign better players, give Arteta the tools to make it work, and then I think we can judge him. Could Arteta change his approach? 100% to make it work. But he doesn't want to change his approach. He wants to play a certain style of football, and he wants to instill that philosophy long term. So when we do sign the right players, the transition is easy. We can't just suddenly try to play back five tomorrow or sit behind the ball and don't worry about attacking. It's just not the way our players are going to want to play. Our fans wouldn't accept it either. So I think Egal's right. We need some continuity. And if it's wrong, it's wrong. But there's no guarantees either way. Let's not assume other managers will come in and do a better job.
I mean,
David, how are you turning off the fire alarm?
I appreciate all the comments on that. But you mentioned Allegri. We have some breaking news about Allegri to Arsenal incoming for us all right now. Here it is.
Shall I just make a quick dedication to Arsenal?
No, I don't want no dedication.
I've got to say something.
Right? No, wait. No. I've had enough dedications today. I want to get straight to the big news, breaking news that you say you got for me. You got the Aubameyang transfer, right? So I trust that whatever news you're going to give me now, that I can. This is fair. You can never say 100%, but it's fairly reliable. What have you heard?
I will say, but I've got to say about Arsenal. Although I have to, because today is a
I don't want to hear.
I have to say.
I don't want to hear about. We've had a lot. Wait. You can tell me about that afterwards. Who's the link?
We are very, very close to sorting out an agreement for Massimiliano Allegri. He spoke to us a few months ago and said that he needed to know sooner rather than later what the plan was, so he could informally allow Juventus notice they can start searching for a new manager. And then talks were going to commence at the end of the season once their title challenge was finished and once we finished our season here. And this is the thing with Allegri. We agreed a deal for him last summer where when he knew we weren't in the Champions League, he knew limitations in terms of potential budgets of players we've got, and that was an obstacle, and that won't be one now. And it is looking increasingly likely that he will be our manager. There are due to be formal talks within the next week or so, of which his representatives will be flying over to London. And
you know all this?
And there is and they're also looking for. They are now also house hunting for him with his family, with his children.
I honestly, one of my favorite AFTV videos of all time. Big up yourselves over there. I love the best bit is when he says Massimiliano Allegri, and then somebody says who, and he went Allegri, and then came back to talking.
It's
That
got
was
like
in my- that
it's
was
got
in
like
my
Ricky Gervais
YouTube
vibes. That.
recommended yesterday. So maybe Daniel Ek's called up his friends at YouTube and gone, let's start getting this. Let's start getting this moving.
Yeah, like
But
it came up
honestly,
in my feed as well yesterday.
like,
That's why.
literally, no, but I understand Harry's point of, oh yeah, he could just be another Michael Laudrup. But again, I say, when you look under the hood of Brighton, I know they're not having a great season, like on the face of it, but under the hood, it's actually doing quite well. Like they are scoring, they should have scored a lot more goals. They should have a lot more points, but they literally just for some reason Neil Mopai can't put the ball in the back of the net. When I look at your squad, I look.
But
at
that's the same logic that we apply.
No,
that's the same logic that we apply.
No, but again,
that's the same logic that we apply when we're beaten down for.
Harry, when I look
Let's
at
not
your
move away
squad,
from the
when I look at your squad, I see a team that's really poor defensively, and I see attackers that are underperforming. That Graham Potter will get more out of that team than Arteta will right now, 100%. No question about it.
But what you just said to give Graham Potter the benefit of the doubt there was that Maupay's missed some chances, and if you look under the hood, they're actually playing well. If I was to say the same thing about Arteta, you would say, I'm being delusional, I'm making excuses. But the same things could be applied to Arteta. In games we have played well, we have been unlucky with some decisions. Our strikers have, just missed some chances where they would usually score, which is why we're 10th. They're not excuses. It's it's facts, but it seems excuses because obviously we are struggling. But you just said the same thing about Graham Potter.
Guys, we've got
missing one big point.
1 second, guys. 1 second. We're at the end of the stream now. We've got a big Arsenal Man United preview show coming up tonight. I'm sure we can go into this in a lot more detail this evening. Everyone who's tuned in, a massive thank you to each and every single one of you. Please subscribe to the Football Terrace. Hit that like and that share button. But until next time, take care.